Hello and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. I'm Tracy, also known as MercyTiara, and I make scrapbooking process videos and more here on my channel. Although I haven't been making them too often lately, I am getting back at it. I have a huge backlog of videos to catch up on. They are in various states of editing, so please bear with me as my channel will have spurts with lots of extra process videos for you to watch and spurts where there aren't so many. I am starting by having a look at my previous pages because sometimes I use see-through elements or vellum or shaker elements or whatever that might change my the way that I design, in particular the left-hand page, because the left-hand page is the backside of the previous page. So I have all of my photos here and I am cutting them up, and I don't have as many photos these days as I used to have when the kids were young and lived at home and so on, but I am still finding plenty to document. So I'm really still enjoying the process for Project Life. And I'm really loving it. And you might notice that there's not quite as many 12 by 12 pages on my channel these days. And that's because I'm just allowing myself to follow whatever I want in terms of how I spend my crafty time. So these days, I'm just not feeling the 12 by 12 pages. I'm sure I will come back to them because I have always been a 12 by 12 girl at heart. So I'm sure you'll see more 12 by 12 pages at some point, but I'm not sure when. So as you can see, my very first step is the same as it always is, which is use my little paper templates there to lay out all of my photos. That gives me a sense of where I want everything to be. And it also gives me a bit of a sense of color and weight that I can move around the page and keep it balanced. I'm using the Ali Edwards April Stories by the Month kit here. And so they have those, first of all, that pink title card up in the top left-hand corner that says April. I really love having that be consistent every single month. I do 2 pages a month, an early page and a late page. So my early page always has this as the marker of the changing of the month. And then my second page may or may not have some indicator that it's also April, but I think that people will piece together even if they're not perfectly labeled. So I let go of a lot of those rules and things that restrict me a long time ago. So I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants. Now, this page is going to be quite a bit different than some of my other pages. All of the previous pages up until now have had lots of flips and flaps and embellishments and interactive features, and this page really doesn't have any. And so this page really shows that you can throw together a page that captures 2 weeks worth of memories in quite a bit of detail with very little time and actually very little product as well. I mean, I used the cards from the kit and a couple of embellishments, but really not too much. As I'm looking through the kit here, I'm just looking for ways that I can spread things around. And I'm keeping in mind that I will have a second page with April. And so there are several things that repeat in these kits. And I really love the repetition that and just the cohesiveness that repetition gives to my pages. So there are 3 cards with the APR on it and also 3 cards that are numbered, and a lot of the fonts repeat. Like you can see these Moments Matter up in the top right hand corner, Adore This. Those are similar fonts and also similar to the Bring On the Store. It's probably the same font, I would imagine. There's also a series of cards like that blue one with the yellow leaf patterns on it. There's a series of, I think, 3 of those as well. And lots of that frame shape, that's it, that shape right there that I just had out and put away. When I punch out my chipboard that comes with the Ali Edwards kits, when it's shapes like this, I hang on to the chipboard backing because I can use it for tracing that shape if I ever want to cut a smaller version or just have an extra of that exact shape. I like to have those chipboard backings for that. I don't keep them forever, but just while the kit is in use, I like to keep that handy. Now, here's another thing I do whenever there's a shape like this that I don't easily have a die for, or it's kind of hard to replicate by hand. So I just have some vellum in my stash, and this is vellum that doesn't work with my current printer. I had a whole big package of it for my old printer, and I was so excited to be able to print on vellum. And I didn't do it for a very long time. And when I finally did, my new printer, I realized just is not, I tried all sorts of things, and I just decided that I might be able to get it to work, but the chances are pretty low that I'm going to want to do all of the things that it might take to make it get to work. So I just bought a new package, and I'm using this pack for things like this. So in this case, I traced that shape on vellum, and that allows me to be able to transfer that shape right onto my photo with this marker, and then I can cut around it. As I cut, I'm trying to cut on the inside of that marker line so that you're not going to see the marker line on the edge of the photo. And I did trim it to be just a little bit smaller than the shape actually was. You might notice when I was trimming it that I left a little bit on the backing, on the back shape. That is so that I could have this whole photo be framed by the white. Basically, the white on the background of the card serves as a matting for the photo. As you can see, it is not cut perfectly. It's a little bit of a wonky rendition, and if it would have been very easy to make that quite a bit more precise. It would have just meant taking a little bit more time to do it. But I'm really liking the wonky handmade look to my pages these days. And so I am embracing the imperfections and just going with it. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Pokopia these days. It's my new digital obsession for digital designing. And so I wanted to document that. I did introduce the concept in the pages before this when the game was released. I spent a lot of time playing it, and now I've kind of normalized into more of a normal play schedule, kind of like I was with Animal Crossing before. And so I wanted to document one of my first builds, not my very first build, but I did make that apartment building that is kind of, I guess, to the left of where that frame shape is. I was playing around with the idea here of putting lots of these frame shapes. I mean, I have lots of them, so I thought maybe I might want to stack a whole bunch of them. But with the busyness of this photo, it just wasn't working. And what the reason I keep coming back to the bottom part of this photo is that this photo includes a clip of my tool belt in the game, which you can actually put away. And I should have put it away before I took the picture so that that white strip at the bottom wouldn't be throwing off my design here. But I didn't really know that I was going to scrapbook it when I took the picture. I was just taking it to share with my friend. So this journaling here says, let me find it. Yes, it says, this apartment building was a fun challenge. So I'm just trying to indicate I built the apartment building without saying I built the apartment building. So, always just kind of trying to not just state the obvious, but say a little something about it. And it was a challenge. It took me a long time to make it because it was the first time I had ever made a multi-level structure in Pokemon Pokopia. And I didn't know how to do staircases, it turns out. And the staircase in this is a little strange. It's in the back, so you can't see it. But yes, I think I have a whole new respect to engineers and architects who have to figure out how to incorporate staircases and stuff and still make a building look nice. So what I'm looking for here is my in the news stamp set, and I cannot find it. And it turns out I had stored it in just on the other side of the divider so that it was in the wrong compartment. But I eventually found it. I do keep all of my stamps sorted and into categories, and I knew that that one was in that category, but I just misplaced it. So it doesn't matter how good your categorization is. If you misplace something, it's going to be in the wrong place. So I would like to document the news story here. I don't typically document the news too much. I go through phases where I document it more and less, but it's all just the same thing all these days. So early on, about a year ago, I was documenting the news more because it had a direct impact on me and my business, like particularly American news and tariffs and stuff. But now that we're through that part in that, not that the tariffs are through, but that our business is gone because of the tariffs. I don't really focus too much on it. It really is just the same thing day after day after day, just different shocking things that are no longer shocking anymore. So, but so, early April, there was the war and a couple of other things. So I just wanted to document that. And I'm trying to figure out a way to document it without having necessarily that news story and photo in like a front and center on my page. So that's what I'm kind of working my way through here. And you'll be able to see me. I'm just one of my Patreons who was watching live with me. She was asking me about that card that I'm using with this a-hole again written on it. That is from Syncopation Designs. She had a collection called In the News. It was a while ago, like maybe a year and a half ago. And so I bought that. And so you saw that big folder that I had. It was blue and it was 8.5 by 11. That's where I keep all of my digital designs that I have printed up. And that way I just kind of cut them out when I need them. So I thought about just taking the picture off entirely and just using the news story. I do want to include his tweet or whatever it is called, like the social media post that he did relating to that story, just to have like the original content as well as the headline about it. And I'm ultimately going to go a different direction. So here I'm thinking like this headline would look a lot better if it didn't have those little lines sticking out on either side of it when I put it on. And so I'm thinking about potentially printing that up again. And then I thought, I did print it up again. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to keep the version of it with the photo on it. So there, I just reprinted it at a slightly wider size so that it fills more of the width of that card. And I'm going to put it on the card such that there are no lines showing on the other side, like on either side of the screenshot of the article. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I printed it yet again because it was still a little bit too narrow. Yeah, you could also white out those lines, but you might notice that card is not 100% white. I don't know what I printed it on, but it's not as white as other cards are. And my concern about using whiteout was that it would stand out because it would be so white. So now I'm thinking, instead of doing a flip, because this is on the left side, you can do flips on the left side in a variety of different ways. You can use those plastic flips that adhere to the outside, or you can cut a slit and have your flip go through the slit in the pocket. I've done that in other pages. But what I decided to do here instead is to just have a little pull-out tab. And I think what I'm going to do is actually first, I guess I'm thinking about how I'm going to do the pull-out tab. So here's a tab that came in the Basics kit from Ali Edwards. I've been getting her Basics add-on. It's also a quarterly kit. So I get the Stories by the Month, that's monthly. I get the quarterly scrapbooking kit, and now I'm also getting the quarterly Basics kit. That tag came from that, and I'm going to adhere. Look at how perfect it is. It's exactly the same width as that tweet if you put it sideways. So I'm definitely going to use that. And then I thought of this. So I have these little pockets in my stash. These are ones that I actually made, but the reason I made them is that I bought a set of Ali Edwards cards that came with these little pouches. They were made of vellum. They were basically exactly what I'm holding there. And I loved them so much that I spent a little bit of time one afternoon. Those are the dimensions of it, by the way, 3.5 by 2.5. and no, by 2, and I don't know. I'll have to get that measurement for you. If you want it, let me know and I'll find it for you. But it's pretty easy to make these. You just kind of score it on three sides and then use a circle punch to punch that little notch. And then you've got yourself some little vellum pockets. My intention here is to use my In the News stamp set. That's from Ellie. No, that's from Ellie's studio, by the way, if you're wondering about that one. And I'm going to use my stamp positioner because I suspected I might have to stamp this twice. Just checking. I have a little stamp it's a kind of a long story, but I have a little stamp that I keep on my Tiny Attacher refills package, and I just use that to test and make sure that my ink was going to stick well to the vellum, and it does. So I'm just using plain old VersaFine ink for that. And it just says currently in the news, and that is really beautifully proportioned for the size of that little pocket. So I really love how that turned out. And I decided to not stamp it twice, even though I could have, because I'm just setting it there because it is vellum and I don't want it to smear. So yeah, there you go. I checked it and it's fine. I'm going to trim that down a smidgen more so that it fits inside of the pocket. The little pouch, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's a pocket. And now I'm going to put some washi tape on this tag just to emphasize the fact that it's a pullable item that you can pull out. I'm going to use this washi tape because some of these colors, it's not an exact match, but it's a pretty close match to the colors in the kit. I believe it's from Simple Stories, and I'm pretty sure, I am sure that it is from an old MTK kit. In fact, I'm pretty sure no, I'm not going to even guess the kit because I can't. I was going to say Summer Vibes, but I don't think so now. It really doesn't matter because you can't buy them anymore anyways. But it is from Simple Stories originally. So here, what I'm thinking here is that I want to have something inside of the pouch, like the inside of the pocket from the page protector, right? So this is the back side of a page protector. And I don't want, when you pull out the card, I don't want you to just see the back of whatever was in the page before it. I want to have something specific there. So you saw me pull out 2 different cards. Those are from my stash. And then I eventually found this one. It's not an exact color match, like I said, but it's awfully close, especially to that one that says Bring on the Stories. So that'll serve as the card that actually goes into the page protector. And then everything else that you just saw me design there will be on top of the page protector. And because this video is shorter, I do include the part where I put it into the pockets. So you will get to see that part come together as well. Now, I would like to put my journaling about the Artemis 2 on this journaling card right here. So I keep in Pages, which is my word processing app that I use. It's very similar to Word. So if you don't have Pages, you can do all of this same stuff in Word or any word processing app that you might have. And so I just keep a template that is 4x6 in size so that I can put journaling and print it right onto the cards. I also have another template that has a 3x4 inch card. And between those two, most of my journaling is done on those 2 templates. So as you can see, I want it to be centered just because of the shape here. I wanted smaller lines at the top and at the bottom, and then wider lines in the middle. And so the easiest way to do that is to center everything. And then I just used line breaks or paragraph breaks in different places, in strategic places, to get the text to look the way that I want it to look. I don't want it to, because I have less journaling than what fills the space, I don't need to be too careful about making it be tightly following the shape. I can just have it be generally following the shape. Now, what you're not seeing there, I do kind of try to show both my computer screen and my desk so that you can see how I'm comparing my card to what's on the screen and having a look at it. So I printed it up and took a look at it. Sorry that I ended up placing it right where the screen is, but I printed up on scrap papers and then I just check the alignment, and it was just a little bit too wide. And so I printed it again. I don't remember how I changed it, but it ended up being still too wide. So then I made a more drastic change with the margins, and that ended up helping it. So now I'm going to print it for realsies, right on the card. And there's how it looks. It's a little bit higher than what I was expecting it to be, but I would rather it be a little bit higher than expected than a little bit lower than expected. It just works better. So with these cards here, I do want to use the shape of this. It's like a banner shape on the bottom of it that shows the card, like that shows the number. And so I just use my vellum again to make a little template. And for this one, I really wanted to, this is a photo of my husband coming out of the Steel Wheels Museum. It's just our local car museum. But it was impossible to have both of them on this card. If I made this photo any smaller, you wouldn't be able to know that it was Scott coming out. So I just decided there's plenty of photos of Scott inside of on this layout at this place, so it's okay to just show the sign of the museum, so that's our kind of introduction to this concept, because we have several cards here that are all from this same event. So the 1, 2, 3 are just 3 different photos from the event, and I put them in chronological order. Not that it really matters, but this is the order in which we visited the different cars. Our main reason for going is because the van that traveled with Terry Fox in his historic run in the 80s, I think it was 86. No, it couldn't have been 86 because it's not a round number anniversary. But anyways, in the 80s, it was in this museum. It's there for at least until September, so that's fun. And we decided to go on the anniversary of when his walk across Canada started. If you're not familiar with Terry Fox, any Canadian probably is, but if you're watching from another land, Terry Fox is a very famous and well-loved Canadian who walked across Canada. He had cancer and he was walking to raise funds. The story is super inspirational, and there's a couple of really great YouTube videos about it. If you want to watch it, it will really inspire you and also kind of bring you to tears. It's just a really powerful story. And Terry Fox has always been very important for my husband because he was kind of involved with the foundation early in his life. So yeah, he's got like multiple Terry Fox shirts that he could choose from to wear to the museum that day. So as you can see, as I was kind of talking about that, I finished off that process. And now I'm just trying to decide which of these frog and toad memes I want to include. And I went with the one that is about cookies, about how you can always just open the box, but for some reason closing the box makes it easier not to eat too many more. So at this point, I would like to put some journaling right here on the floor beside the Lamborghini. This is the car that made Scott fall in love with Lambos. The Countach, introduced in 1974, was featured in the Cannonball Run movie, and that's the journaling that I'm going to put here. Scott also was introduced in 1974, so, there's that too. So I'm just writing what I just said there, and I am using just my plain old Sharpie pen. You can use most felt tip pens, and even ballpoint pens work on photos, so you don't have to be too careful about what you use. I suppose some water-based markers would probably smear, but most markers that I've encountered work perfectly well on photos. So for this photo, it's a bit of a play on words because Scott's last name is Oldford, and there he is standing with Old Fords. So I just called that one 3 Old Fords and wrote that on the chipboard and put it right beside him. I love how the colors of the cars in that particular photo, the yellow and the bright blue, really work with the colors in this kit just by coincidence. I have these cute little currently stitched embellishments, and I thought about putting them all over the place here. No, those are not stitched, actually. I'm thinking of something else. Those are flat cardstock die cuts from probably from the Basics add-on. That's that quarterly one. But I did decide to use it there because that photo just, I don't know, it felt like it needed a little something. I had an extra photo of the Volkswagen bus or van or whatever you call it. And it's my favorite thing in the whole museum, so I wanted to take that other photo and include it in the page. Even though it's here a little bit out of context, it's off away from its sister photos, it's still okay. There's not that much on this spread. It's going to be clear where that's from once you look at the page in a little bit more detail. So the only real embellishment on this whole page is those frames, and that's it. I thought about adding a few more things, but I ended up not. Like you saw, I flirted with the idea of using those currently embellishments, but I ended up not. So as promised, here is the part where I'm putting the cards into the pockets. So this process is super easy when there's no flips or anything, but it's still fun to finally put them in the pockets after you've worked on them. Even though this video is not a super long one, we had done a number of other things on this live stream. So almost every Saturday, sometimes Sundays, I live stream with tiaras over on Patreon. And this particular week, I had some unboxings to share, as well as I did a walkthrough of my art books on my bookshelf. One of the Tiara members had requested that, so I spent a bit of time doing that. So I don't know, I still had plenty of time that I could have done more elaborate pages, but it just didn't strike me to do it. I just felt like doing a more simple page this time. And the page felt done, so I didn't feel the need to just keep on embellishing just for the sake of embellishing. So this is what we have this time. As you can see, I am using score tape here, and this is the most reliable tape that I've encountered for gluing things onto page protectors. So it's not foolproof. You can tear it off and pretty easily, actually, if you really wanted to, but it's not going to come off accidentally. You'd have to pull it off on purpose in order to take that off of the page protector. So that's what I really love about that score tape. I keep it in the 3 different sizes, and I used the 1/8 of an inch size there because the 1/4 inch technically would have fit, but it would have been a little bit tight. So in a second here, you're going to see a screen that shows all of my most recent amazing Patreon supporters. These folks truly help make this channel happen, and I'm grateful for each and every one of them. Just so that you're aware of what you get over on Patreon. If you decide to become a paid member, you will get early ad-free access to all of my process videos, plus real-time unedited versions, often in the form of live streams, and exclusive behind-the-scenes content from my craft room. And what we have that's really wonderful over there is a really cozy, growing community on Discord where we chat and share our progress and challenges along the way. So feel free to hop on over there if that sounds interesting to you. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a really great scrappy week.